You're going to be like, whoa, oh, so this is going on here. All right.
Welcome to another episode of Chewing the Fat. I'm your host, Big Rob. Thank you so much for tuning in, downloading the podcast. I certainly do appreciate that. Also want to shout out Mother Trucking Eats for writing a review of the podcast on Apple Podcasts. I certainly do appreciate that. It helps the show find more people to hear these beautiful, messy, human stories. And calling in right now from Laurel, Mississippi, please welcome Landon Bryant. Landon.
Hey, y'all.
Hey. Thank you so much for being here. If you don't know who Landon is, he is a comedian, a Southern observer of culture in the South and things like that. And I found Landon through Instagram, through the posts he put on there about just observations of things that we do in the South and the commonalities that we have, and if they're the same other places. So thank you so much for being here. This is cool to really meet you for the first time doing this. So thank you.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm just very excited to be here. I just talk too much on the internet, so this is nice.
Well, this is, oddly enough, will kind of be on the internet too, I guess, and you'll be talking, but it's all good. So Brandon, you're in, I called you Brandon. It's Landon.
It happens
Landon
all the time.
Bryant instead of like Brandon Lyant.
It's actually so appropriate that you did that because I've been called Brandon my entire life, So I don't even it doesn't phase.
Well, it phases me because I want to make sure that I give you the respect that your mama gave you when she gave you that name, You're in Laurel, Mississippi. Is that home? Is that
I am. I'm in Laurel, Mississippi, and I've lived here my whole life besides when I went off for college, and I did go to a few different colleges, went on a little college tour. Mm-hmm. But from here, raised here, been here. I do get to travel a lot, so I feel like I get best of both worlds. But yeah, Laurel, Mississippi, born and raised. You might, if you are not familiar with Laurel, Mississippi, and you're listening, you might know it from HGTV. There's a show called Hometown, and this is the hometown.
Yeah. That's I guess that's brought a lot of spotlight on Laurel from that show with the Napiers being
It very much has. It very much has. And Laurel's always kind of had famous people walking around it, but now there's people that know about it. So it's it's very fascinating. We got Leontine Price, we got Mary Elizabeth Ellis from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and my favorite celebrity from here is Parker Posey. I'm so proud to be associated with her. She's the only celebrity I've been super weird to I've met so many, and she's the only one that I've been I love you so much.
That's awesome. Yeah, I had talked to a fellow voice actor friend of mine that's actually up in Starkville, which his name is Jake Phillips. He goes by the Cultured Bumpkin. And he's got a podcast and does stuff with, he was on a few episodes ago, but yeah, he's not far from where y'all are, at least from what I could tell on the map.
I went to school in Starkville. I started my college in Starkville, started my illustrious college career there.
Yeah.
Right up the road.
So when you were growing up in Laurel, was observing that Southern culture? I mean, obviously, when we grow up, we are childs of our environment. And so I feel like there is a very natural part of the stories that you tell that you're like, this is lived. This is not, yes, you observe, but you were living it as well. What made you want to start telling those stories?
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I think it has to be to work on the internet, you have to be genuine and authentic. So I don't think I could talk about stuff I don't know about. I think I can only talk about things I've seen and know. And I just know here, and I talk a lot and I enjoy talking. My family is a quiet family. They're very quiet. My grandfather, though, is a talker. Mm-hmm. So my house was quiet, but my grandparents' house was not as quiet. Mm-hmm. And I definitely inherited the chatting skill from him. But I've been married for 15 years and I've known her since second grade. So she's been there for all of the stories. And so literally I'll be talking one day. This is how it all started. We were on our way home from school because we both worked at the same school. We were public school teachers. And she looked at me and I was talking in her direction. And she was like, what if you told your stories to the internet? Which is like a nice Southern lady way of saying like, hush, like, please don't tell me this again. Like that's enough.
Yeah.
I've heard it enough. And so I did. I just started talking to the internet, and it pretty quickly blew up into what it is now. And I'm just so proud of that. I didn't set out to be like, I want to talk about where I'm from. I want to talk about the people that I love. That was not how it started. It literally was just me like talking to the internet. But then it quickly turned into people asking me things about stuff that I thought was like very regular. Like in one of the videos, I said might could, and I said fixing to, and people were like, what do you mean fixing to? And I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean fixing to? Like, like, what do you mean? And so we started discussing those things. And then, on the internet, they're like, find your niche, find your niche. And I quickly realized, I was like, okay, here's the niche. Turns out I do know about something. Yeah. And it is definitely like the South, and people do want to talk about it. And so it kind of just keeps evolving. It quickly turned into like, what can I talk to my grandparents about? Like today's world is so divided. Generations are so divided. Everything is so different. So when I choose topics and when I choose what I'm talking about, it's like, what is something that I could go visit with my grandma about, and it be not a problem and not cause any like situations with anybody? Like, how can I honor them? What's something that I could talk about that like honors them and brings us all together? And that's kind of what it's been for the past few years. It just has grown and grown, and it's really bizarre to me how it blew up so fast. And then the books came, and now I do stand up, and I just love all of it. And I try to take every opportunity and do it as best I can for where I'm from.
Yeah. Yeah. So the storytelling nature where you said maybe started in your grandparents' house.
Oh, for sure. People from the South, people from the South are storytellers. That's like what we have to do. If you're sitting on a porch shelling peas all afternoon, what you have to do is chat and talk with each other.
Either talking or singing. Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, exactly. Literally. Exactly. And so that tradition is just very rich here. It's so rich that I don't think I even realized how rich the storytelling was as part of our culture here, because it was just regular to me. But everybody here is a storyteller, and we might not have like a lot going on, but what we can do is embellish a story.
Right.
And make it way more fun.
Yeah. No, I love it.
And we also can be nosy and be in everybody's business. So I grew up like on the porch. I grew up in the beauty shop. I grew up in like literally in the cornfield, like in the red dirt, listening to them chat and talk. And I think it just naturally resulted into this. And like Sunday lunches were an opportunity for chatting and telling stories and making the table laugh. That was the whole goal. So storytelling is a rich part of being from a place like this. I think it's a very rich part of being from a small town and being from the South.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. And it's, there was such a connection with family that sometimes now, as modern technology and having to have two jobs and this, that, and the other that we see in our everyday that is a little lost. So you are helping to kind of preserve that culture. There's something about that Sunday meal at the table, and
I didn't even realize it was that we were preserving it doing this. Like that wasn't something that I set out to do, but now I realize how important it is. Like my son is 12, and I hear him saying like you guys instead of y'all and stuff.
Where have you been?
So, it's like, who is this? So no, it's important to capture.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. When you were going to school and things like that, obviously, like I said, you weren't looking to be, quote, air quote, internet famous or anything like that. What were you interested in growing up?
Well, I have a lot of ADHD, and we'll definitely discuss that in the next realm. It's kind of defined like everything I've done. So I've never really, when you have ADHD, you don't really think about the future like that. It's very in the moment. It's very this, like I'm just getting through this moment.
Yeah.
You don't really like look forward like that. So I've always enjoyed entertaining people. I've always enjoyed that. I've loved the stage for my whole life, whether it was like, I grew up in the church. And so I was like on the stage there, and then I got to branch out into theater, and I love the theater, and I love that performance type of a thing. And then, we were wedding singers for like 10 years before this goes on. We sang in everybody's wedding in Mississippi. Yeah. I've sang the prayer so many times. And and so I just love the stage. I love entertaining, love performing. So this is kind of like the best version of that. If I had a dream of that, and I guess, I would love to have done that the most. I would never have dreamed it would be like this, and getting to be on the stage like I do and getting the audience that I have is so ideal for me. I really, it's like a dream I didn't fully realize.
I love that. I love that. And so when you were going to school, then I'm assuming, because you're saying you did singing and stuff like that, you did do some stage or some drama. I mean, or what was the, and you said you also taught. So, I mean, so what did you go to school for? What was the degree?
Well, a lot of different things.
Yeah, I was about to say, because you said you moved school, so I assume that maybe that might have made you move around. So.
There's a lot of different things. Well, in high school, I was very much in show choir and like did solo competitions, and I was a tennis player and swimmer. So I was like very in the competitive realm. And then in college, so all my family is very like, I just have the best parents, and they had everything laid out for me so well. And like my schedule was so dictated, and I was like, come home from school, go to swim practice, sit down, do your homework, have dinner, blah, 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 blah. It was just like very scheduled out. So then when I got to college, to Mississippi State, Starkville, where they were, I went to architecture school.
Oh, wow.
And it didn't work out, don't worry. And I immediately was like, wow, I have no concept of like how to structure a day. I've never studied a thing in my life. High school wasn't very difficult for me. I mean, I'm not gonna say I'm very smart, because obviously like I don't do well in college classes, but I just breezed through school. It was like no problem because I had all that structure. So getting into college was really such a huge shock to go from a high performing, like top of your class type person to like literally failing classes. And I just had no concept of even what I was doing wrong, or like even how to approach systematically studying for something. So college was really a shock for me. It was really a shock. And I tried architecture school, that didn't work out. And then I went to nursing school, and that also didn't work out. And so I came home in the middle of college and was like, let's just go to work. And I worked in my local emergency room, which everybody should do that. If you think you know your town, you don't until you've spent a solid 24 hours in the ER. You're going to be like, whoa, oh, so this is going on here. All right. But it was really good for me to work in the ER. And it's actually very good for ADHD, because everything already was an emergency. So I already was in red alert level. Yeah. So CPR down the hallway on a stretcher is like no different than getting dressed.
Right.
So I was already up there. Yeah. So that worked really well. But then I was like, I got to get going. I got to get back to school. So I went to the University of Southern Mississippi, and they looked at my transcripts and were immediately like, something's up. Like, how do you have these? You have great scores on ACT, all these great scores, but then your grades don't reflect that. Let's get you tested for stuff. And I blew that test up, and they really quickly accommodated me and got me through school. And at that point, it was kind of like the situation where it was like, I've got to get out of school. Like, I've got to get a degree. What is the fastest route? What's the fastest route after all the things I've taken? And history was the fastest route that seemed attainable. I've always enjoyed writing. And so I fell in love with the history program there, like so quickly. Again, the ADHD, like, you can entertain me and I'll be entertained. Yeah. And so I got my degree in history, and I really loved it. I went to the Center for War and Society at USM. So I learned a lot about civil rights, learned a lot about like war and those kinds of things. And it was great. It was a great thing for me. But then I finished school, and I was like, I don't really want to pursue graduate school, so I'll go into teaching. So I got certified to be a teacher and took all the praxis and things like that to be a teacher. And I taught for almost 10 years, and I taught visual art in a public school in Laurel here. It's called, it was Laurel Magnet School of the Arts. So it was a public school that used the arts to teach academics. Oh, wow. And that was everything for me, because I was the visual art teacher Monday through Thursday. And so I would teach 4-year-olds through 6th graders. And it was great. And then Fridays, I would get assigned to a different grade every Friday. And whatever they learned that week in whatever subject they were struggling in, me and the other arts teachers would they had a dance teacher and a music teacher. We would come in and teach their academic lesson using our art, and we had to meet the standards for both of those things. And there are lessons online that like you can cut stuff out and like glue stuff, but there's no lessons that truly meet the standards of visual art and the academics. So you have to come up with it every week, and it's very high level. It's the top school in the state, so they have really high expectations. So that creativity of blending algebra with art every week, or blending like English with art every week, that practicing that creativity week after week after week was so good for me. It was such a good practice for me. And I think it's why I can do what I do today because of that. So that was where we were. And then it was one day we were headed home. My wife has a specialist degree. She's very high up in education. I was like, just a teacher. And so she was exhausted. And when we came home one day, she I was talking at her and she was like, please talk to the internet, And so,
Yeah.
here we are. And so it was a long, random journey, but I think all those random experiences are why I have stuff to say today and why I know a little bit about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I can relate to a lot of people. And I also can relate to people who aren't successful at stuff. And if you have to pick up something and try again, and so I just really relate to that. So I feel like it kind of makes me a little bit more universal than what I would have been had I just like succeeded straight through school, in a way.
I love that. I want to go back real quick and touch on, you were talking about somebody looked at your transcripts and realized there was a disconnect somewhere.
Yes.
How important is that in like the educational system, instead of like passing people on, I just go ahead and make them somebody else's problem, to find that teacher, to find that professor, or somebody that's going to say, there's something here. How do we uncover that?
It's everything. It's literally everything. I mean, there's like data. I went to 3 different schools and failed everything I was doing in every level in different areas. So it wasn't the subjects. It wasn't the concepts. It was literally the systematic, like the way you do school and the way you study and that kind of stuff. I had no concept of it. So without them realizing that, I would have done the same thing at Southern. I would have gotten in the first class and I do so good for like a week in school, like for 2 weeks in school. I'm like on it. I've got everything organized. I'm on top of it. And then something slips. And then every time by the middle or third quarter of the semester, I'm like, wait, I'm not going to get out of this, and that would have happened again. That would have happened again every time. But the Office of Disability Accommodations at Southern Mississippi was so incredible for doing that. And they helped me get the accommodations I needed and then get the therapies that you needed as well. Because you need accommodations, but you've also got to retrain the way your brain is thinking. It's never going to be different, but there's things you can do. And without those things, I don't think I would have done so well. And I went from like literally failing everything to I graduated like a year and a half later with really well. Now, I didn't make it to my graduation because that sounded like a very long ceremony that I don't think I could have sat through. But I did graduate.
You got the paper.
I got the paper.
So that's the important part anyway, right? Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
No, I love that. And I love that, like you said, it just sometimes it just takes that one person to be like, to care. And, teachers are under a lot of pressure, professors under a lot of pressure. And sometimes it's hard when you should have a class of 15, you've got a class of 35. And so,
for sure.
So I definitely think it's important. And I think that, it's something I wish that was easier for the teachers to be able to have the size classes so that they could identify that in more students. Because, I mean, that may have been something that like maybe you could have found that out in the first school instead of the third school. But
exactly.
But like you said, with all those experiences, you might not be, a fact, you would not be the person you are now if you had not had those other experiences. So.
Exactly. But for other people, I would love for them to be able to get the help when they need it. Because it does, and we'll get into mental health in the second section, but for sure, we need people looking out for us, for sure, in academics.
Yeah. And that's kind of, that kind of goes back to that, sitting on the porch with your grandparents type thing. Those people that care, that love, that share, that open up themselves to, we're going to talk and we're going to tell some stories. We're going to let you tell some stories. We're going to hear what you have to say too, to find out those things. So I absolutely love that. So we're out of school, we're out of teaching, we're now talking to the internet.
We are.
What was that experience like for you? Because, starting a podcast, and you also have a podcast, sometimes you fall into the trap of trying to look at numbers and you try to chase numbers, which really takes your eye off of what your purpose is. I started this podcast to talk to people, to help them realize they're not alone, because everybody, no matter what walk of life they are in, they all kind of have those same things. But when you start looking at those things, and it's human nature, it can get it can get depressing. It can get like disheartening. So what was that journey like for you when you first started,
Definitely. Well, it's really scary. It's like so scary to leave anything that you have that's like, I was in the system, I was in school We had all the stuff going, like you guaranteed paycheck, all the things. And I mean, I taught through COVID. So like we were in school, like we were in doing schools, and that was what I was going to do for the rest of my life. So I wasn't like looking for a change. I wasn't like looking for a change at all. But so in February or March of like 2022, I started posting. That was when that happened. I started posting. And by April, I had all 4 of the top publishing houses were like in my DMs. And I know it was so bizarre. And I was like, well, I don't know what to do about this. Like, how could I possibly know? How could I possibly know how to manage something like this? But fortunately, Erin Napier, the hometown host of Hometown, I'd been friends with her for most of my life. And I called her and was like, help, I don't want to like help. And she did. And she got me in touch with her literary agent, which is just I'm so grateful to that, because there's so many scams out there, of agent scams, of manager scams, of literary scams. The publishing houses are not scamming by any means, but excuse me, it's all this giant game. And so getting straight to a legitimate literary agent that knew what she was doing, that had been in the game, that was I skipped the line on so many things from that. I like really skipped the line. So we had already signed our contracts for the next school year, because you have to sign them in February in Mississippi. So we had signed the contracts for the next school year. And if you break your contract, you can lose your teaching license. So it was kind of like a very scary decision. It was, and they don't necessarily take it from you. It's like your district's discretion. Do they want to pursue that or not? And but by April or May, we knew the book deals were going to come through. I knew that the school that we worked at was so high performing, and this was like until 6 o'clock in the afternoon type of school, because we directed the musicals, we did so much stuff, and those kids deserved that. They deserved that level of attention. So we were like, I don't know if I can do this, and I really don't know if I can do this and that, and it was really, really scary, because it still wasn't guaranteed. And, book paychecks aren't like, here's all your money. Right. It's like overtime, and it's not monthly. It's a paycheck here, then like 6 months later, another paycheck. So the money was scary. It was like a scary thing to do, but we took the leap, and our school district was very gracious. They did not take our licenses. And so that worked out, and we came home and quickly got to work building all this stuff, and it was the right decision. And it's just grown from there. And first it was the videos. And I was very serious about the videos. I made everybody miserable around me about it. Because I was like, I decided, okay, if I'm going to do this, let's do it right. And I knew, like, I understand algorithms. Yeah. And I was like, this is like a puppy. We have to train it like it's like a dog, and teach it what we want it to do. So I showed up at the same time every day between like 4 and 7. I was there every day, no matter what. And I had the similar background, the similar style of videos, similar length. And I think that's really like what did most of the blowing up, was the consistency of that. And so I just dedicated to showing up while writing this book, and it just blew up. And then we started getting other opportunities to go host things. And then my friend Heather Land, she's a comedian. She has a bit that's like, I ain't doing it, where she has this filter on her face, and it's really funny. And she messaged me and she was like, you do stand up, right? Come do a show with me. And I was like, yeah, what is teaching if not stand up? What is Sunday lunch if not stand up?
Yeah, it's improv,
So I went and did it. I had no clue what I was doing. Backstage, she was like, all right, I'm going to go look at this. I've been memorizing this for like 3 weeks. It's a new set. I was like, you memorized the set? Because I was just going to go vibe, like vibing on the stage. And so that's sort of like what I did. I sort of just like went and vibed, and like had points to meet between. And now I understand comedy a lot more. I've like studied it so much more. That first set went really well though. Like it went really well, like just vibing. And I fell in love with it. So I was like, let's do this. Let's go so hardcore. So now I've been in the comedy circuit for a long time. I feel like a year or two now at this point. I've done so many shows, and I learn something every time. And I've met so many good advisors, and like Leanne Morgan has been so kind to me, giving me advice. And she told me to get on every stage you can. So I do. I get on every stage that I get invited to. Yeah. And now that's a whole different world. And now there's other opportunities with like TV writing and other things coming in. And so I'm trying to navigate those. But I basically just try to make I don't know what I'm doing in any of these things. So I just try to like make the right decision every day, and be like, if you like if you were like looking at yourself in a mirror one day, are you going to like what you see based off of these decisions? So I try to make every decision. Like, I don't know anything about TV, but I'm going to approach it with that same mentality. And I think that's how it's served me well so far. And so now I've got this whole career and I'm here talking to you, and I didn't mean to do any of it, but I'm just so glad that I did.
Yeah.
And it was calculated, but it's been very fun. And I'm very grateful. Like I feel like I owe the community so much because they've given me so much, because I'm having the best time all the time. And it's really mind blowing to me. I keep feeling like what's going to happen, but here we are.
Well, I mean, you, as all of us, we can only make the best decision that we can make at the time with the information that we have available at that time.
Exactly.
So, and if you know your heart, your gut, so your gut is really, sometimes that's a really good, bellwether of which direction you need to go is what your gut telling you. And like you said, looking at yourself in the mirror and be like, okay, am I okay with this? What legacy am I leaving behind by doing this thing? Is my 12-year-old child going to be proud of Papa, when they're like, oh yeah, because they, as they say, fame fades, this, that, and the other. But if it's something that they're going to be happy to be like, oh yeah, Dad did this cool thing back in the 2020s and was like, it was amazing. And we got to do this, that, and the other. And it was so much fun. And, and whatever they take from that. I mean, that's like you said, you just do the best that you can with what the information you have. So
that's all that we can do.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. So some of the subjects you talk about in your video, I'm just talking about some of the video stuff, because I know I've seen your tour schedule. You're out there all the time. I was surprised that you were in Laurel when you connected today, because you were just in Charleston, which is about 3 hours from where we are, not too long ago. And then, like I said, you're actually planning on being here in the Augusta area in October, which will be great. So hopefully I have a chance to come see you there. But the video stuff, it connects so much with me. And I'm going to tell you right now, my wife loves you. Shout out to Val. Matter of fact, I got your Christmas book for her for this I think it was this past Christmas. I love that. The little autographed Christmas book.
I love that so much.
Yeah, so she just loves you. And the things that you talk about, let's talk about some of the stuff. And it's funny, you just mentioned this on a not too long ago video, the word tump. Because I had mentioned tump on a comment on one of your videos, like probably a year ago or something, because we were talking about words you use and things like that. And tump is one of my favorite Southern words. Yeah. If you don't know what tump means, to me, tump means something being knocked over or falling out. Like I agree. You can tump some flour into a bowl before you start to make bread, but also if you knock a potted plant off the front porch, it tumped over into the yard.
Exactly. And
there's also, I have had cousins that were named Tump, and it may have been because they were clumsy. I'm not sure.
Okay, wait. You're the first person that has had somebody named Tump. I knew a grandfather who was Tump. That was his grandfather name was Tump, and I never knew anybody else named Tump. So it's so interesting. Yeah, I love that.
He was clumsy. The cousin was clumsy, but so I don't know if that's why we called him Tump, because he kept. It fit. He tumped out the back of a truck one day. He trying to get down. He tumped out the back of a truck. So I don't know. But
I love that.
Yeah, and also.
A lot of people didn't know Tump, though, so good on you for knowing Tump. I haven't figured that one out either. Normally, I can look in the comments and kind of figure out where Tump where the thing lives. People will be like, "I'm from here," and I don't say that. Yeah. Tump was kind of like very random all over the place, but it wasn't like even people in my town didn't know Tump, but then people other places did. So Tump, I don't know how Tump got where it is. We need to investigate Tump some more, and I will.
Yeah, I need a Tump investigation. So I'm here in Central East Georgia in the Augusta area. So that's the area that I've grown up in all my life. The only other place I've lived is it's all been in the Southeast, but I was in Birmingham for a few years working in radio there. But yeah, it's all been in the Southeast. But yeah, so Tump was something that we said, my grandparents said it, my mom said it, things like that. But my wife had never heard of Tump. So
See?
Yeah, it's odd. I don't know if that then maybe got brought down from where they had come from or whatever. I don't know. But yeah, Tump's a good word.
I'm interested in the history of it all for sure.
Yeah. matter of fact, my wife does get aggravated when I say Tump sometimes. She's like,
no, it's good. It's so good.
And your allegiance to Duke's mayonnaise is admirable, and I appreciate that to the core of my heart. I've never seen, something that's so polarizing as a favorite mayonnaise, but good grief, Duke's mayonnaise is the best.
If you want to go viral on the internet, say mayonnaise. Just mention mayonnaise, and they will be there. They will come out, and the Dukes fans are prolific, so they will be there for sure. There'll be a lot of them, but mayonnaise gets them going. You can mention mayonnaise, and that really, that video is going to be a hit, whatever it is.
Yeah. And I have a friend, my best friend Dale, he loves Duke's mayonnaise, but he's also talks about Miracle Whip, and I'm like, that's not mayonnaise. You can't. And it's so controversial of him to say that. Wow, so bold and brave. I know, he's so brave
to say that here.
I don't know, but he's like, but I don't put Miracle Whip on a sandwich though. He's like, I'll use it in. I was like, that's because it's salad dressing. It's not mayonnaise. It's salad dressing. You can put it in your potato salad or whatever, but you don't. Although you really need to put Dukes in potato salad too. But anyway.
I feel sorry for the Miracle Whip people that say it in the comments. There's always one or two that mentions Miracle Whip, and I'm like, oh no, bless their hearts. They're about to get eaten up.
Bless their hearts, for sure.
Bless their hearts,
they are about to get. That's the only eaten up that Miracle Whip will ever get.
Literally.
Landon, with all that you got going on right now, what is bringing you joy?
Oh wow. Well, my son brings me so much joy. I think he's the greatest thing. I love getting to watch him be who he is. He's different from me. He's like a different thing entirely. And he is just beautiful and wonderful. And I love getting to watch him grow up. I just got to watch him be in a musical, and he sang the song Out There from Hunchback of Notre Dame. Devastating.
Awesome.
Just devastating. I'm like weeping in the audience every night. So but what is bringing me joy is getting to meet all these people. I've really gotten to travel a lot more lately, and I'm balancing work and home life in that way. But when I do get to go out, I get to meet everybody and people. Okay. When you see numbers and stuff on your phone, you see usernames, and I know that it's big. I know that it's a big audience, but it's very difficult when you just see it every day and it gradually got there. It's hard to process, and it's hard to understand that people are watching it. So when I'm out there in person and I meet people and they tell me things that it's meant to them, or that it reminds them of their mom, or that they now have something to talk to about their mom, or that this is what them and their grandmother share, or them and their daughters share, that really brings me so much joy, because I never thought I could impact people in that way. I didn't mean to impact people in that way. And seeing that people love where we're from, they love our culture, they love how we grew up, and we want to connect on it. And we're all kind of looking for a way to connect on it, and maybe not connect on the things that we don't love about where we're from.
Right.
It's turned into something much bigger than me. And that just brings me so much joy and satisfaction to see people connect to it. When there is a family that is parents, their mom and their grandmother and their daughter or their son, if y'all all four are at my show and I'm audience, then that feels really good that families can come together, watch something together. They'll say that they watch it in bed at night or something with each other. I don't know. That means so much to me. It brings me so much joy. I can't believe it most of the time.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like the, boiling a frog. Like you said, it started small and the temperature turned up, so you didn't realize the water was getting hotter. You didn't, and I say that in a positive way as opposed to the actual usual turn of phrase for boiling a frog. But
right.
Yeah, it's, you're not hopping out the pot. You're able to see that temperature when you go and you're standing in front of people, or you're going to a book signing, or you're going to this type of thing, and to see the impact that you've had. That's got to feel good.
It does feel good.
Inside.
It feels especially when older people say that they feel respected and seen and they feel loved. That's what more could I want to do with myself? That's more than I ever meant to do or set out to do.
Wow. Definitely different than being an architect, for sure.
Yeah.
You've become an architect of joy. That's what you've become.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. And also I love that your son sang from Hunchback. That is my favorite Disney musical, one of the most underrated that are out there.
It's so good.
And it just hit 30 years. It just hit 30-year anniversary, I think, like this week or last week or something like that. So
good.
So that's really, really cool. Is that his passion? Is the performing thing?
He has a lot of passions. I don't know if it's his passion. He's just very good at it. His mom and I are both performers, so he didn't really have a choice at being a good singer.
And he's on stage.
Yeah, well, he's got perfect pitch, so he like really has. He's better than me at the stuff, so he's just really good at it. But he is a boy. He's like a full-on boy. He's like a little man. He loves to fish and he loves to hunt with his grandparents. I've never killed anything in my life, so there's like he's different than I am, and I just take a lot of joy watching him be who he is on his own and grow up. We're not cool to him at all right now. He's in middle school, so nothing that we do is cool. But he's great. He's just the very best.
That's got to be unfortunate with all of the like social proof that you're out there. It's like if he's got friends going, "Do you see what your dad did?"
Well, what will be wild is he will literally be like, "I'm going to be a YouTuber one day," and I'm like. It's literally what I do.
Do you want some help with that? No, Dad.
Okay. And he's like, no, not the way you do it. I'm
going to do it the right way.
So there's that. But I'm glad that if he does want to step into something like that one day, we'll have the resources to do that. I don't really want him to be in the public until he's older. I feel weird about kids being on the internet. I don't think it's weird if you just put your kid on the internet, but if your kid is like the focus of the content, like if your channel couldn't survive without the children, I think that's where it gets a little weird, but I don't really hold judgment for anybody. I just want to keep him. I want him to own his image in the future when he decides what he wants his image to be. Right now he's 12. He doesn't know what he wants to be out there on the internet. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with all that.
Yeah. Just be a kid. Just be a kid.
Just be a kid.
Yeah.
Just be a kid.
All right, Landon, this is the second segment of the show where we dive a little bit deeper into your mental health journey. I definitely believe the more that we can tell these stories of things that we've gone through in these down days and how we've gotten through them, it helps everybody around. So for you, how do you keep the darkness at bay?
Well, I go to behavioral health. I go to behavioral health. I do that. I do get treatment for it because it's not something that I can handle on my own. I would love to be able to handle it on my own, but that didn't work out for me in life. So I've been receiving treatment since I was like 21. I'm almost 40 now. So it just is it's just part of my life. It's just a part of my life. But I think awareness is such a big deal. I didn't know I had the situations. I knew I was different than everybody else. I knew I couldn't tolerate like I never cared about baseball because I would be so bored by like 2 minutes in, just that type of the whole situation. But growing up in the 90s and 80s in Mississippi, nobody was like, you have ADHD, unless you were the kid that was like bouncing out of the chair,
right,
being a problem. And I've never been like a problem as far as behavior goes. So it just wasn't known. But when I finally got treated, it really was very helpful. But then one thing that it led to is a lot of anxiety. I've always had like a lot of anxiety. And it's because when you spend... And I hate talking about this in a way that makes it sound like my childhood was awful, because it was not at all. I had the best childhood, the best upbringing, the best parents. But when you have ADHD, you mess things up. You're going to leave everything. You're going to lose everything. I will not even register that something huge is happening tomorrow and not even think about it at all if it's not immediately in front of me. So growing up, obviously, I was always not in trouble. My parents were great, but I was always like, what did I do wrong? What did I leave? What did I miss? What did I drop? What did I not study for? Especially when I got into college and failed so harshly, so quickly. That was such a shock to my system. And now, even still to this day, I sort of don't believe I have to like really believe that I'm going to do it correctly. Like I still have to I have to trick myself into believing that I can do the thing. Because a lot of me, anytime I start a new activity or something, it's very easy to immediately lean into the anxiety of what am I going to do wrong? And then when the thing is going on, it's like, what did I leave out? What did I forget? All that's still there. And that feeling of like failure can really define you over time if you let it. And I really let it for a long time. I didn't believe myself. I don't know. It just is a whole another level of like unpacking that you have to do.
Yeah.
from if you weren't diagnosed for so long, because I wasn't diagnosed for so long till I was very much an adult. I was like 19 or 20, and all those years of not being treated and feeling very different than everybody else because of it, and wondering like what am I doing? I don't want to do anything. I don't want to be doing this wrong. You know, that feeling, it really will sit with you. So I'm really unpacking that over time. It's also hard to just truthfully, and again, been doing this for a long time. When you grow up believing that ADHD is not even real, then it's hard to take it. Even if I logically understand how it works in my brain. I understand that it's memory processing. I understand like where it comes from, but it's still hard to internalize all that. So that's stuff that I still unpack, and it can cause you to be depressed. It can cause all those things. So it's just something that you have to really deal with. And earlier I mentioned like that mirror of like looking into yourself. Things got to a point in my early 20s where it was like really bad. And I was like really confused about like, what am I doing here? Like, what's next? What can I do that's good? And basically, ultimately, you're going to end up like looking at yourself in a mirror, metaphorically or literally. And like, do you like what you see? Not your physical appearance, but like, do you like what you've been doing? Do you like what you see? And so that moment was kind of where I had to be like, okay, I want to like what I see. I want to like what I'm doing. So what can I do to move forward and be the best I can be? And that's kind of how I try to treat everything. But you know, it's a journey. It's a constant journey. I'm always learning new things about myself. I'm constantly defiant. I want to not take my medicine every few months. I'm like, I don't need this. And then go through that whole process again. So it's quite a journey for sure. It's quite a journey.
Yeah. And like you were saying, you had 19, 20 years of undiagnosed activity. You know, you were a whole person by the time that you had figured out what was going on and the changes that's a lot of unlearning that you also have to do. And also a lot of forgiveness you have to give yourself too, you know, and I think
which is hard.
Yeah. I think that's probably one of the hardest things, because you're like, I can't blame myself because I didn't know. I didn't, like you said, you do what you can with the information you have. A year before your diagnosis, you didn't have that information. Heck,
I only was like just doing bad.
yeah. Heck, you know, a week before you had that diagnosis, you didn't have that information. So you can only do the best you can with the information you have. And so being able to forgive yourself for not knowing, you know, because you want to hold yourself guilty for something, but you can't. You weren't guilty of anything other than doing the best that you could, you know. And then when you looked in the mirror, you're like, okay, I think this best that I can do could be better. I need to figure out why I'm not liking my reflection.
Exactly. Literally exactly. And like evaluate that. There's a teaching thing where you like assess, evaluate, implement all this. It's like a circle. And if you're a good teacher, you're constantly doing that circle. Like you're never like, this worked, let's move forward. Like what worked good here? What worked bad here? What did that child get out of it? How could I differentiate it for them? It's the same thing with yourself. You should constantly be like evaluating, like, was this the right choice? Should I make a different choice? Did this go well? Could it have gone better? And that's kind of how you could treat all your life, really. How I try to, like, just constantly evaluating, constantly like what could be better, what could I do better, and be as good as you can be.
Yeah.
And then there's the aspect of being from the South and doing all this. That's a whole different thing. There's like a masculinity culture here that I've never really been a big part of. So that's also made me feel like different than most people. And there's this like this attitude of like being strong man for your family. And that doesn't come with like emotions. It doesn't come with like exploring yourself really very much. And so that's another thing to work against. And I just hope that anybody listening to this knows that you deserve, no matter what type of man you are, you deserve to explore yourself as best you can, and you deserve to live the best life that you can by knowing yourself.
And like you said, sometimes that's hard because of this culture, you know, and yes, in the South and being a male, but also sometimes it's just being American. You know what I mean? There are these preconceived notions that maybe we put on ourselves because of something we read or we watched, or like I said, the TV shows or the content that we, you know, that comes across our feed because of the algorithm or whatever, that makes us feel like we should be a certain way.
Right. Definitely.
And truthfully, the world needs you as you are. We don't need another Landon Bryant. We don't need another
Exactly.
Rob Smith. We just need the ones, and we need you as you are.
Exactly.
As well.
Not to get very metaphysical on us or anything, but I love science and I love physics, and I just love this concept of like we're the universe looking at itself. Like we're the things that can look around at the universe. Like we're the universe discovering itself. That's what we get to do. We're the only ones doing it right now that we can tell, we don't know anybody else doing it.
Right.
It's just us. And I think that's so beautiful. Like you are a chance to be a perspective of the universe and be a way the universe can discover itself. So whatever you have specifically, what an opportunity. You get to discover the universe in your way. And that's so valuable to me. I think that's beautiful. And so I hope everybody lives their life that way, because we do get that chance.
All right, Landon, this is time now for the third segment of the show. It's time now for the Fast Five. The Fast Five. It's time now for the Fast Five. Fast Five. Sorry, I'm still working on the theme song for this segment.
It's great. It's very good.
I feel like I need at least a drum or a guitar riff.
It's very good.
Fast Five is powered by Poddex. It's an app created by my friend Travis Brown. If you go to chewingtofatbr.com/Poddex, it'll take you to where you can download it on your favorite app store. But it's 5 random questions, no wrong answers, just the first thing that comes to the top of your head. You ready for this, buddy?
Great.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. If you could pick only one new lesson to teach a new person that's maybe doing some content, what would it be?
Be yourself. Be yourself and be yourself and be consistent. I know that's 2. Okay, wait.
Be consistently
yourself. Exactly. Yes. Be consistently yourself. That's it.
I love that. Question number 2. What do you want your legacy to be?
I want people to know that they were loved and that I appreciate them for who they are and that their individuality is great and that they are here for a purpose. And I'm so glad to be here with them.
I love that. Question number 3. What desires keep tugging at your heart?
Ooh, I have a desire to love people and to love on people and for people to be happy and well. I really, really do. I think we're all remarkable, and I really desire for all of us to get along and love on each other.
I love that. All the hugs for all the necks.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. All y'all's
hugs for all y'all's necks. All right. Question number 4. If someone left you a cottage somewhere in the countryside in their will, where would you want the cottage to be located?
The mountains, the Appalachian Mountains, somewhere along the Blue Ridge or the Appalachians. Something about that place calls me, and you're closer to it.
Yeah. Blue Ridge is one of my favorite places.
It is stunning, and something about it feels like home. I don't know if we're from there or our ancestors crawled out of those mountains at some point, but it just feels like home, and it's a beautiful place. And I love the mountains.
That's great. Yep. Same here. And question number 5. What do you geek out about?
Well, so many things. I can geek out about so many things, but I really love anything history. I love history so much. And I also I geek out about travel. I love traveling. And lately, and I just really calling my number. You can call me a nerd if you want to, but I geek out about trains.
Really?
I love trains. And I know that's such an autistic stereotype, and I've not been diagnosed with autism, but I have not, but I do love trains in a very serious way. I like to know, I know too much about them, and I know about different engines, and I love, there's nothing better than traveling on a train with a roomette, a bed in the room, that is it right there. And it's just a little bit more expensive than flights, but you don't have to fly, and you get 3 meals. And you get to sleep, and you're going to get there, not in a rush, but you'll get there eventually. So trains, I can geek out about trains.
Sometimes it's cheaper than flight, though. So I will say this, and you're lucky because y'all have a Amtrak station that comes through Laurel.
And it goes all the way to New York. I'm actually next month going from Laurel to New York and back, and I'm so excited about it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, our line, we have an East Coast line that comes up this way, but to like get to Laurel, I have to go 2.5 hours up to Atlanta, which if I were to do it by train, I'd have to go over to Columbia and then go up to like, I think like Kentucky, and then come back down through to get down over to Laurel.
That's very silly. That's like very silly. Yeah, we need more trains, y'all. Please give us more trains, please.
Yeah. No,
we want the trains.
That's awesome. And there's a beautiful the Blue Ridge Railway up in
I
Blue
want
Ridge.
to do that.
It's nice, and in Chattanooga, they have a train with like a Pullman car, and you can do dinner and stuff on that. And so, yeah.
And you can also stay in a train in Chattanooga, in the Chattanooga Choo Choo.
Oh, yes.
It's a hotel that's the trains. It's like old trains.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
I just was there.
And it's funny that you talk about trains. And gosh, we got on a weird tangent.
I know.
But like there's a train that comes to Augusta that is a bunch of Pullman cars that you can stay in if you're here for the Masters week. So if you're here for
so smart.
If you're here for tournament week, they like have that set up, and you can like, stay
that
in
is
the train.
So smart. I actually did an ad for this. I'm sorry to get off topic again, but I did an ad for the Masters, and I was like, "Do I get to come?" And they were like, "No." I was like, "Okay."
You do not. No, you got to enter the lottery just like everybody else. No, that's awesome. Well, that's our Fast Five, Landon, and that's our show. Thank you so much for being here, buddy.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I've had a great time.
Yeah, this was awesome. If folks want to keep up with you and everything you got going on, what's the best way they can do that?
You'll see me as Landon Talks all over the internet, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I'm Landon Talks a lot on YouTube. I felt really clever about that because I was going to talk more. I wish I had just done Landon Talks, but Landon Talks a lot. And then you can find my book, Bless Your Heart, A Field Guide to All Things Southern, everywhere books are sold. 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, Y'all is a Christmas book. It's exactly what you think it is. And it's out as well. And next year, I have How to Speak Southern, which is a dictionary, and it comes out next year. And I also have a daily calendar based off of Bless Your Heart that comes out in August with Andrews McMill. It's going to be exciting as well. So you'll find me all over the place. I'll sneak up somewhere.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I'll make sure I put all those links in the show notes for this. And again, thank you so much for being here. I love you, and I love everything you're doing, and I love your heart. And I wish you nothing but continued success in everything you got coming up.
Thank you so much. Tell your wife I said hello.
I will do that. And if you would like to support this podcast, I'd appreciate it if you bought me a coffee at chewingthefatbr.com. But until next time, I look forward to the chance we have to sit a spell and chew the fat.